I'm Mars Halek. If you watch my recent video about the BB box, 6 notes up here in the key of A minor. What kind of the key of A, actually? Kind of going back and forth in the BB box. You may recall that the frets here were 9, 11 on the G string, 10, 12, and 10, 12 on the B and E strings. And when you get to that 12th fret, we just kind of stretch a quarter to a half to maybe even a whole tone, or just somewhere that it sounds good for guitar face. That's what that's about. You may have noticed that it's the same pattern as straight E minor pentatonic, only not necessarily stretching at the same places, and it's 2 frets higher. So in other words, in A minor, we'd be playing the E position relative to C in the CAGED system, or I believe that is considered position 2 from a minor tonic perspective, or just people who number these instead of going CAGED, they start with the G as being that one position. This is the E position, which is also position 2. If you can keep track of all that. So, and it is just the same thing moved up. You can play all those notes, just stretching a little bit different emphasis. So do the entire E position, which is, I'll go down this time, 12, 10, 12, 10, 9, 11, 12, 9, 12, 9 again, and 12, 10. So that's the short version right there. Now talk about stretching all those notes we were talking about. These are kind of stretching up to, it's kind of a good thing to put over the 4 chord too. In this case, D or D minor or whatever. If you're in D, D major, D 7th chords, whatever, you could go all the way to the F sharp too. And the same thing over here, go to C or C sharp or C slightly flatted. And you can kind of get that extra emphasis by going from the happy to the sad, the major to the minor. Okay, and you may have noticed from my intro video, which is a real short one, that I said, join me figuring this thing out, so I'm still figuring this stuff out. Okay, so it hit me though, that it's like, okay, that's the same pattern as this. Minus probably don't stretch here too often. You could. That rings a bell from a song in A minor. So you could bend up to be there. But I'm getting way off the subject. I'm trying to keep this stuff simple and not too long-winded, and there I go again. Just making connections, though. It's good to make connections in your brain when it comes to music. Like, oh, okay, that sounds like that. That sounds like that. That's as close as I've got to ear training, just kind of doing that along the line. Anyway, you got this whole E pattern relative to D, or you could call it the 2 pattern relative to B minor. But we're in A. And so, these are just kind of like, you can use almost all 12 tones, at least 11 of the 12 tones in blues, plus the, little quarter tones you bend to. So you just kind of learn them a couple times and learn to combine them together. But since we noticed we stretch this, and incidentally, you can get a little thing from the minor here. You can also stretch this guy down here, because we're kind of doing in the minor. licks at the bottom of this stuff are easily bendable. You can kind of bend everything, though, just about everything here. Because when you're down, well, let's see. Okay, get down to here. Let's kind of stay in the pattern. I want to emphasize these two. So an octave down from there. There's E again, E to E. So you could bend with, I tend to bend the opposite direction when I'm bending with my first finger, and it's not the B string or the E string, it's the G string here. And just like we went from E to E, we go B to B. You can bend your B down here. That's the 9th fret on the D string. And you also have an E over here. Play around with that and find some coherent licks, you know. Let me pretend like I'm jamming for a minute, see if I can stay coherent, you know, within that. I mean, it's easy to do on those top 6 notes. Even this is the same pattern, but we're bending in different places and we're emphasizing A, so it sounds different than playing it in the relative to A or C position here, down 2 frets down, where we're thinking about A. We're still thinking about A, but now it's like those notes in the pattern feel a little bit different. Maybe the rhythm changes a little bit and the whole feel just changes and it just gets a little bit more mellow. You move up here. And of course the big bend. That's the tonic. That's the BB slide there. And let's leave it with that and hope that there's something useful in there.